Against Zhou Yulong, and here he comes, his opponent Ben Mertens of Belgium. There's Rob Spencer, our referee for this match this evening, and there is young Ben Mertens, still a teenager, 19 years of age. Just a reminder, on Discovery Plus, Gary Wilson against Louis Heathcote. You can watch all 3 matches on our digital platform.
It is a head. What do you want to do? You're going to break, okay.
It's the 2 times Northern Ireland Open champion and reigning champion Mark Allen against Ben Mertens of Belgium, who I think has won the toss.
Whenever you're ready, Ben.
And has elected to break first. So here we go. Best of 7 frames, of course, the first of 4 to go through. The winner to play Estonia's Andres Petrov, who beat Sanderson Lam in qualifying. In round 2, of course, the top 16 seeded players held back to the venue. And Mark Allen, Neil Foulds going for a bit of history in looking to become just the 5th player to win the same event 3 years on the bounce.
Yes, and of course prior to that, of course, it was Judd Trump who won this event for 3 years running also.
Can you hear me, Kevin?
Particularly difficult to do in events like this, big fields. Not many frames, best of 7 to keep winning is quite an effort. It does help if you've got a decent draw, and against Mertens, very dangerous player. Early mistake for Mark Allen there, leaving that red on, but Ben Mertens from Belgium is really an up-and-coming talent, progressing really nicely in the game.
Made inroads in the draw at last season's Welsh Open, Mertens, in making the round of 16. He beat Jackson Page and Dave Gilbert before losing to Ronnie O'Sullivan. He lost to O'Sullivan at the English Open last season as well, but I think that was a bit of a watershed moment for him because he played so well in defeat. He was 3-0 down, forced a decider, and O'Sullivan spoke very highly of him afterwards and said that the sky's the limit. He's got a lot of talent, just a question of harnessing that now. But he is putting together some impressive results. He's beaten Sean Murphy this season.
5.
Still very young, isn't he? Just turned 19 the other day, and you know, he was the youngest player to win the match at the World Championship qualifiers going back. That was in his first, well, the first time we'd seen him really. Dropped off the tour, back on a stronger player. And as you pointed out, since then I think the results have come. I mean, he's still 71 in the world, but it's a ranking that is going to be improving because he's only in his 2nd year. He's not got 2 years points. So it can only go one way, this ranking. He'll be in the 64, I think, with a lot of potential. Yes, we know potential doesn't always amount to what it should, but he's a good lad. I think he'll do well at the game. He's tall and open to a lot of improvement as a player. And being from Belgium, well, that's where he's at the moment. Belgian snooker is thriving.
Yes, Luca Brussel's triumph at the Crucible last season has really elevated the interest in the game in Belgium and provided an inspiration for the likes of Mertens and Julian Leclerc, of course, who made the shootout final last season to go and do something similar.
Yeah, and all 3 of those you mentioned, Brussel and Leclerc, and of course the man we're watching, have got a very aggressive style of play, as you saw from that last shot. It's not a question of being the consummate match player. I'm sure that'll all come, but for now they are all playing the game, expressing themselves, taking risks. This is a tough little shot. I always used to think they were the worst news. I'm not sure whether Ben Mertens saw it, but I think the red above the black is available, as you can see from that view. So maybe it wasn't really a shot to nothing, but he should have known it was there. He only noticed that red after he'd missed the one he was going for.
What?
Just the one semi-final appearance for Mark, quarter-final appearance, I should say, for Mark Allen at this tournament in the first 6 stagings, and he admitted that he'd allowed the pressure to get to him, that extra determination to do well in front of his home crowd had affected him. But having made the breakthrough a couple of years ago, he now absolutely loves playing here. And it was a dramatic final against John Higgins the first year he won it. It was 2 down with 3 to play. The atmosphere, as he said on Discovery Plus earlier ahead of this match, was off the scale.
8.
And of course, he was able to successfully defend in pretty spectacular fashion from 4-1 behind against Zhou Yulong. He won 8 frames in a row to get his hands on the Alex Higgins Trophy for a second successive season. That added to a first UK championship last season when, of course, he came from 6-1 behind to beat Ding Junhui 10-7, and a World Grand Prix title as well, beating Trump in a decider. Made for a very satisfying campaign. He also made the last 4 at the Crucible for only the 2nd time in his career, losing a marathon match to Mark Selby.
$50.
Well, somewhere along the lines, from winning here 12 months ago until now, his game seems to have changed a little bit. It's been discussed a lot. And even when winning the UK, I think it's almost the way that he knuckled down in that final against Ding Junhui of the UK Championship and won it by grinding out frames. He's almost felt, well, I'm winning playing like this. Why would I go back to any other way? But, you know, he hasn't been in quite the same form since that win you also mentioned, the World Grand Prix in January. But he did get to the semi-final of the World Championships, but around that, a few pretty crushing defeats. It's not always been straightforward. Almost a different style of player to what he ever was. Missed that one and given a chance straight back.
22.
He's never that fluent now. That's the thing I would say about him. Otherwise, it's hard to fault what he's doing.
He made the quarterfinals in Wuhan, the previous ranking event, but Allen himself has said that he rates his form this season so far as no better than a 1 or a 2 out of 10. So he knows his game isn't quite there yet, and he's hoping that coming back to the side of a couple of his most memorable triumphs will inspire him to find a bit of form. But he's clearly facing a dangerous obstacle this evening in the shape of Ben Mertens. You can see that slight shake that Mertens has when he's down on the shot. That is the result of a side effect from a COVID vaccination that he had, which clearly hasn't been helpful to him. It's something that's not always there, and on occasion it resurfaces and can be worse at times, less of an issue on other occasions, but I guess it can get into your head. And given that snooker is a sport that demands being as still as possible on the shot, it's an obstacle that it could do without. He's not the only player to have suffered from it either. Scott Donaldson springs to mind.
Well, it's turning into a good chance already. Of course, he would have been thrilled that Mark Allen didn't make much from his opportunity. 60. The red, I think, at the bottom of the bunch of 4 does pop to the right corner from somewhere over on the left side, but whether he wants to alarm that. It's a bit of an away fixture, isn't it, for anyone playing Mark Allen? Let's not beat about the bush, you know. He is very popular in these parts, and he gets a lot of support here in the waterfront, the man that Ben is playing. Absolutely nothing wrong with having your favourite players, as long as you're respectful to the opposition. And this crowd of supporters in this part of the world usually love their snooker, full stop.
Alan made that point when he played Higgins here, that Higgins had plenty of support himself and they were just loving the quality of the snooker, the competition, the fact that it was so tight and the ovation they had ahead of the deciding frame. I think Alan and John actually embraced ahead of the decider backstage and said this is why we
23.
put in the hundreds of hours of practice for these moments.
Yes, it'll be good here at the weekend, and both of these players have got a reasonable chance of getting there. Of course, only one will come out of tonight. But as I said earlier, this is not an easy first round assignment for Mark Allen against this youngster.
28.
Just managing to push a red out, but whether he can play it or whether he has to go into the 3 from that angle, I think that he mightn't be straight enough to screw in behind that bottom red. So he might have to nudge the 3, I would suspect. And it's reasonable. Can he get the centre ball striking on that left red? It's a good lead, but he needs to do more.
Mertens.
Yeah, it always looked high, just as
36.
the red that he missed into the left corner did. So that's 2 good opportunities that Mertens has had in this frame.
It's one of those, Philip, where you wonder if it's just going to fall in off the top jaw, and you'd be 50-50 watching that go towards the pocket if you're behind the shot.
That was a good pot from Alan because he was slightly stretching on it.
That was a nicer shot than it looked. It was well played. And a bit of an angle on the black. He had to put backspin on just to hold that cue ball from travelling away from the reds, which he succeeded in doing.
Nine.
A couple of seasons ago, Alan was the sort of player who played very much on instinct, very quick in amongst the balls. There's no doubt that he's taken a more deliberate approach in recent times, but when you look at the results that he's had and the prize money he's banked, nearly 700,000 on the table last season. He struck on a winning formula. He has said this season that he's been looking to quicken up a bit from where he was last season in a bid to rediscover some of that old fluency.
Yeah, that last colour before that one to brush that red into play was a very good shot, which has put him in this strong position. He's just checking as to how far he needs to go. He needs to go quite deep into the colours here to get this frame secured.
24.
And this will hurt Ben Mertens because he was going nicely before missing the red to the left or left centre pocket, so this would be an early blow to strike.
$26. 28.
Needs up to the pink for 1-0.
Yes, and Mertens, that mistake where he got the reds open, didn't have great cueing on the red to the left middle, but he still felt he would get the shot being tall and able to reach it. Just stayed top jaw, didn't come down. I feel sure he'd have won the frame had that gone in, but ultimately missing it is probably going to cost him, as Philip said, up to the pink, and it'll be the local boy in front. I don't think he played on the pink to the middle. I really don't. I mean, he is on it to the middle and he's got to go. I suspect he tried to bounce it off the cushion for the left corner. Just a very slim chance he would miss this. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, goodness me. How did that stay over the pocket? I mean, I thought it was going towards the left jaw, but I've not seen a ball hang over the middle pocket like that very often.
Dramatic opening frame. Mertens can now pinch it on the black. It's all about position.
Yeah, this is not simple. It's you'd be grateful for the chance of it, but goodness, this is a cueing shot required.
And he's overcut it well.
Ben Mertens 6.
3 opportunities for Ben Mertens in this opening frame. A little shake of the head from him. That would have been a big steal, because Allen looked to certainty before he finished not ideally on the pink, which he then missed. But he pots the black, and so the defending champion will be relieved to have the first frame on the board. It could easily have gone in favour of Ben Mertens, but it's Allen who leads 1-0. Mark Allen relieved to have the first frame on the board on the final black, having missed the pink. When the clearance initially looked routine, Ben Mertens had the chance on the black, but overcut it. So Allen with the first frame.
It's one of those frames we've just seen that it's pretty unnerving to lose it, whoever you are. Obviously, with Allen, had he lost it, but I think Ben played it the right way, that black. He just decided to put all of his hope into potting it, rolled it in, but unfortunately stayed over the pocket. So it was the gift, really, that Mark Allen needed, having missed that pink, an unmissable black. I've no doubt this will be an entertaining match, whatever happens, and we've already seen that, because the first frame was enjoyable with good play and a couple of very significant errors at the end.
Only the great Ray Reardon, Steve Davis, Stephen Hendry, and of course Judd Trump have won the same event 3 years in a row. Allen looking to join that club. Oh, terrific pot. Really good pot from Ben Mertens, and this is already a mental test for him, because he'll feel he should have won the previous frame. He had a couple of chances before missing the awkward final black. So if he can bounce back immediately in this second frame, that would be the perfect tonic, and he's got him with a superb red. Showed his resilience in that match against a
just got to regroup now, Mertens, hasn't he? The way it all panned out would have hurt him. But you've got two choices at this game. You can either dwell over it or just move forward. Sometimes it's hard to do, but he's oh goodness. Well, that might help his way of moving forward, because he got a little lucky there. Balls could have finished absolutely anywhere. A different day, cue ball goes in, black goes in, anything. Red. None of those things happened.
He's already made 7 centuries this season, which is only one less than his tally for the whole of last season.
60.
Made the last 32 in Wuhan, where, as mentioned earlier, he beat Sean Murphy and then Dominic Dale, who's qualified for this event. Lost out to Liu Hao Shan, but of course
70.
Liu then went on to beat Ronnie O'Sullivan. That match that Neil referenced at the World Championship back in 2020, when he became, at the time, the youngest winner of a World Championship match, was against James Cahill, the man who defeated Ronnie O'Sullivan at the Crucible when he was still an amateur. He was just 15 at the time. Liam Davis of Wales has since beaten his record, but it was an early indicator of the talent that he possesses.
25. Thanks. $32. 33.
Yeah, I mean, I first saw him play at the shootout many years ago when it was in the Coliseum in Watford. You could see what a talent he was then. And, you know, now that he's a fully fledged tour member in his second season, I think you can see that almost the grounding of playing in matches over 2 or 3 years, often on the screen, it's going to stand him in good stead.
41.
And so far, this is the ideal response to the disappointment of losing the first frame when he had 3 chances to win it, including the final black, which he overcut after Alan's missed pink.
Just a little bit of a stretch here. It's okay. He gets on with the game as well, as we've seen. You know, he's someone that doesn't look at shots for too long.
48.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Ben Mertens. 48.
Well, it was a nice contribution, but it's no good if you end up missing something and leaving your opponent straight back in. I thought the black was more of a missable shot, given he was stretching more so.
Well,
One thing missing, but worse for Mertens. He left Alan the opportunity to get straight in. There's not much that's safe.
Little nudge of the 5 reds here, I think, with the order of the day. He's very good at those little shots. I mean, it didn't look anything too difficult, but those shots can go wrong. But it's always been his absolute strength, his touch and beautiful little stun and screw shots right in amongst them. which means he's often playing a series of fairly easy positional shots because of his cue ball being exemplary. There's another example of just getting perfectly on the next ball.
60.
And this is what kind of we've been missing. It's been in sort of grinding mode for 7 or 8 months.
17.
Either side of the closed season. But his best is absolutely formidable.
$24.
Because he made 4 centuries in the 4 frames in the English Open to beat Mustafa Dorgum, who was playing one of his first ever matches on the tour. In the English, though, I might have thought his opponent wasn't much good. I've seen him play since, and he's actually a useful player, but whoever's sitting in the chair on that onslaught doesn't make any difference. So this is what Alan is capable of.
He was a bit annoyed that he didn't land as he wanted on that red, so a bit of work still to do positionally in this break.
Well, that is very out of character. That's a dreadful shot by his standards, or any standards actually, at this professional
36
level that we've seen. Crash straight into the green, trying to just skip past it on either side, up and down. For once, I don't think he really attacked the cue ball there. The spin that was meant to be on it had worn off by the time it reached the green. So he's either going to try and salvage something by potting this long red. But of course, if that goes wrong, he leaves it, then he's got nowhere. And both reds go to the right middle, so he's left himself in a bit of a predicament here. Well,
36.
Not a satisfactory end to that break for Alan. Not left an easy red, but he's left a red. I think up into the green pocket. It's a possibility. These 2 frames have been very similar. Good play and leaving your opponent straight back in each time from the pair of them.
That was well cued. Not easy. He was fairly close to the top rail when he cued it.
Yes, which makes you feel that perhaps Ben Mertens might as well have gone for that long red rather than playing the shot that he did in safety, because either way it might cost him the frame. There's an example of what I'm saying about how he can get the cue ball
11.
to land in the precise area he wants to.
The need to win tight frames like the first two we've seen this evening is magnified in a match of this length. Just the best of 7 frames, first to 4. Mertens will feel that he should at least be 1 each, if not 2-0 up. Instead, it's looking more likely to be 2-0 Allen, with scores now level. He's had chances.
70.
Missed on 48 when he was looking good after the excellent initial red to get in.
90.
And then enjoyed a reprieve after the poor positional shot off the blue from Allen.
Yes, I mean, he will still require the pink, which does mean there's a glimmer of hope for Mertens.
22.
Scoreboard has stopped working for the moment.
26.
Well, it has. I don't know if it updated to the point where he does need the pink. If not, sorry about that. It was my assumption that the scores were correct when I said it. Does he need the pink or not?
31.
Well, having malfunctioned, it's now disappeared altogether.
Well, yeah, the scoreboard had gone wrong before the earlier shots. He didn't need the pink.
He's cleared to the pink nonetheless, and that is another hammer blow for Ben Mertens, who could easily be 2-0 up on the defending Northern Ireland Open champion. Instead, it's Allen who now leads by 2 frames to 0.
Thank you. The third frame. Ben Mertens' break.
Ben Mertens with it all to do now, and this 2-0 deficit feels like more, really, because he'll feel in his own mind he should at least be 1 each, if not 2-0 up. He's had chances. Was on a break of 48 in the previous frame. Missed a red to the right corner. Mark Allen eventually taking it on the blue. We had a scoreboard malfunction, but happily scores are now back, and Allen will be delighted to be 2-0 up. Not necessarily thrilled at the moment with his form. He's missed a few, and a couple of positional errors as well, but he's got the frames on the board. That's all that matters, particularly in these early rounds in the home nations. You're not necessarily going to play your best, but it's about moving through the rounds and building your game as the week goes on. Judd Trump made a similar point earlier. He felt very flat in his match against Jensen Kendrick. He started very well. Trump getting the job done. He actually did have a chance for a maximum in what proved to be the final frame of the match, but just pleased to be through and to find another day in his bid for a 4th title in this event. Very good safety from Mertens, acknowledged by Mark Allen. This is their first meeting. Gary Wilson 2-0 up on Louis Heathcote. Dave Gilbert 2-0 up on the Northern Irish wildcard Joel Connolly. On tables 2 and 3. You can watch it all on Discovery Plus. And later here on table 1, it'll be Sean Murphy against Ryan Thomason. The whirlwind Jimmy White also in action against Anthony McGill on table 2 later.
You're right about that safety shot. He's put Mark Allen in quite a lot of bother here. But you're also right that if you're sitting in your chair and you're Ben Mertens, you do think you should be 2-0 up. You don't even think about 1-all, because he really was a big favourite to win both frames. And I don't think he could possibly settle into this match until he wins a frame. And of course, you know, that's got to happen soon. After what we've seen, there's nothing between them, really, except the scoreline. They've been good and bad.
It's a real test of character now for Mertens, because every shot he's playing right now is being played in the knowledge that he should be in a much happier shape in this match than he is. But as we know, he came from 3-0 behind against Ronnie O'Sullivan at the English Open last season to force a decider.
I think this is the difference with snooker as it's played these days. I mean, the standard of safety, you've got a youngster just turned 19 a few days ago, and he's playing safety for a high level. Whereas there was a time when if you were that kind of age, it was all about potting, and that sort of stuff developed over the years. He's put Alan in more trouble here. Rob Spencer is just overseeing it. This is kind of a new thing now, because you know, obviously it's almost like he's discussing the shot with Rob. Rob just needs to know where the balls are for the replacement if one happens. He's playing a very thin sliver of a red on the left side here. Beautiful. Very difficult shots to play when you're hitting the extreme edge of a ball from that distance.
Well,
that's landed on the brown, so he's got a shot to play down from brown to reds, which I suspect he won't be able to refuse. Can't really know you're going to finish on the brown to the corner from that last shot. Well, he's not playing it. Interestingly, I thought that so many players would play a shot like that. It depends whether he believes that Mark Allen can escape from this snooker that he's in. Only time will tell as to whether that's the right shot. Of course, if Allen leaves him in, it is the right shot. Simple as that. Mark Allen, under his breath, said good shot there, because again it's troublesome. Just wonder if Mark Allen might play the up and down for that red to the left middle here. He might be able to pot it if he does play that. I don't know what other shots he has. So he could go left cushion, side cushion. Yeah, he's going to try and pot this red to the middle, I think. It's one of those shots now.
foul in the miss.
If you're Ben Mertens, do you really want to put him in again? because he'd probably get it second time or get it in the end.
Yeah, because he's had a sighter now, hasn't he? That's the thing.
I don't think he should have put that back, because there's a good chance that in the end he'll pot this. If he continues to play it, he's not got a direct shot, so he could play the shot more than 3 times without losing the frame. I think it's a dangerous move to let him go again there.
You could hit the phone off. You see it as well. That's what I was looking at. Yeah.
Well, if he can see the left red, of course, that will change things a little bit. But I don't think he's got a clear shot at a red. So same again, this time he'll be thinking he can pot it. Get a great view from here.
Foul, mess. Mertens 4. Yeah.
Definitely got a bit closer that time.
I think he might say, I'm going to pot it this time.
Now, if he could see a red 4 ball in this situation, of course, Allen would have to hit one, otherwise he'd forfeit the frame.
Yeah.
But he can't.
No warning. And he says he's going to pot it. I think he'll end up potting this.
Foul.
This will go on
Mertens 4.
for a while.
Feels like any sort of contact on that red would be enough just to drop it into the pocket. As long as it's sufficiently fine, but Allen was mighty close again that time.
Just a minor adjustment. Well, how about that? How about that? I still think it was a risk for Mertens to do that. And strangely, he left it over the middle. That middle pocket is a bit of a devil of a pocket, isn't it? I saw one earlier on, the pink didn't drop.
What?
Oh, goodness, it's all happening in this frame, isn't it? I think he can get through to some part of the yellow anyhow.
Yeah, did you say yellow ball? Mertens 1.
Mertens turned pro courtesy of winning the 2022 European Under-21 title, beat Florian Nussler of Austria in the final in Albania. Mark Allen, of course, had a wonderful amateur career, dominated the Northern Irish amateur snooker scene at all age groups. Former world amateur champion.
With his command of safety play, there's a real opportunity to get in behind the brown here around the angles. said
Pull
it
the sweeps away,
was too
please.
thick.
Pull them away.
Someone's got the sweeps out. They've been banished.
One. Foul.
Well, he looked bad, but he
Column
tried to hit the right.
10 minutes and 5.
Well, as he was hitting the right jaw, the top jaw, and send the cue ball back down towards the Reds. It's been a rather curious match so far. It's had its good moments, but some errors as well from both players. This time he's sweeping that cue ball around in behind the brown ball, around 4 cushions. That's the idea.
He couldn't see a red full ball, but clearly Mertens can.
Just make sure it's right.
Even though he's hampered,
That way? Yeah.
he's got to hit one this time. Otherwise it's 3-0.
Obviously don't play your shot here. Okay. Ben, if I have to call him this as a result of the stroke, I'll award the frame to your opponent. Okay.
Might have to play a different shot even to cut the red in. If he hits the other side of it, he won't miss it on the way back if he missed it on the way up. So it's a nasty predicament, and this rule can be cruel at times when you're left with an awkward shot. But he has a clear shot at a red. He can hit one whenever he likes. I'd be very surprised if he was to try that same shot again the third time. I can't believe he would.
This time going for a full ball contact.
Yeah, I think I'd have almost preferred him to try and cut that red in or anything but leave one, because the way he was playing it, he was always sticking a red. Seemed to me he wasn't in any fun though there, was he, where he was? Let's be honest. The balls were not favourable at all with that awkward queuing, and Mark Allen with a good chance to extend his lead here. I know there's not a big, certainly a big advantage, but he's very good at making breaks out of not much.
Six.
He arrived at this venue 2 years ago under pressure to deliver for his home fans after some indifferent results in this event previously, just that one last aid appearance. And it couldn't have started any better. He made a maximum break to get the crowd well and truly on side against CGI in his first match, and of course went on to beat John Higgins in a thrilling final, and then last year won with a bit more to spare against Zhou Yulong by winning the final 8 frames of the match. Certainly hasn't found his A game this evening, but he has been able to have the last word in the first 2 frames. But having landed awkwardly, the break ends much earlier than Allen would have liked. Much more happy these days to play the percentages when he feels it's the right thing to do, to stay patient, to wait for an ideal opportunity rather than push the boat out. But he did leave a red there for Mertens. It wasn't easy. Nothing really going the Belgians' way right now.
Again, with your hand on the cushion, they're never easy shots. Well, the black is available, but it's not a nice shot to have to play. And one he might feel he hasn't really got to take a risk with at this stage. I mean, I suspect if he went for it, he's more likely to get it than miss it, but clearly missing it is an option from there. This is perhaps where his game is changing, and has changed over the last year or so.
Mark Allen.
Gary Wilson, another of Ben Mertens' victims this season, leads Louis Heathcote by 2 frames to 1 on table 2. Dave Gilbert in the background there as Allen misses the long red. He's now 3-0 up on the Northern Irish amateur, Joel Connolly. So an opportunity for Mertens and get on a colour. Oh, it's too high. He's overcut it.
Not happening for him now, is it? I think that first frame when he missed that last black, which was not a straightforward shot, but it was off the spot. I mean, that's just changed everything, I believe. He just couldn't quite capitalise on the mistake from Allen on the pink. Had he won that frame, everything would have seemed different from now on, I think. As it is, he's looking to scramble a frame somehow.
Yes, he was going well in frame 2 as well, having knocked in a superb long red. He was on a break of 48 and then missed a red to the right corner. And Allen worked his way back into the frame, clinching it on the blue in the end. 2 very frustrating frames to lose for Mertens because he could easily have won both. And that rather sums up his evening at the moment. It's just not working out for him. It feels as though he's very much in this match because it's not as though Allen is outplaying him particularly. The errors continue though, Allen overcutting the red.
Yes, and but Mertens has got to take some heart from something, and it can only be at the moment that his opponent has not pressed on from the first 2 frames. Surely he's on one here, is he? He's very unlucky if he's covered on all reds, goodness. That mistake from Allen, which should be punished, really. I don't think he can get to the red past the green. He can't get to that one. You have to be a plant, which wouldn't be a simple plant. Well, that's the other red. It's not very nice, the situation here. You see, the red wasn't quite over the pocket. That was the problem he had.
Well, he deserved a kindly kiss there, frankly, because Allen dodged a couple of bullets in not leaving him a straightforward red after his miss on the red just now into the right corner. So this frame's still got a lot of mileage in it, just 1 point between them.
This frame, 27.5 minutes. And a long way to go in it. Not many reds have been potted. Only 5 during that time.
Primary goal achieved. Mark Allen getting the necessary action on the cue ball to get it back to close to the baulk cushion.
Well, if nothing else, he should be able to get a good cue ball here. In behind the brown, in getting the red up the table. But you feel that Allen has most of the answers to this good safety for Mertens.
Mark Allen has demonstrated many times during this period of terrific consistency and success for him that he's more than happy to play the waiting game. Half an hour already and this frame has barely got going. I don't think he's thrilled with the state of his game at the moment. In fact, he alluded to a technical flaw that he's been trying to iron out in the early stages of this season. But he's capable now, in a way that perhaps he wasn't previously, of getting results when he's not playing particularly well. He's proved that. 3 big titles and a runners-up last season, as well as the semi-final at the World Champs. Hard to argue with a return like that in the modern-day game. But I guess that puts him under extra pressure this season to try and do something similar. And it's been a fairly modest start to the campaign, just that one quarter-final in Wuhan where he lost to Carter convincingly. So really looking to kickstart things, in his words, here in Northern Ireland.
One.
Well, there wasn't a glimmer from anyone there, but obviously it was a fluke which will be well received. I think he could do with something right now, Mertens. Obviously this is going to be a snooker, but to be honest,
Mertens.
his touch was not great there. And do you know what? I think he can get through the gap. Don't think he's even got the snooker, which is a bit of a sin, because it's almost harder not to get the snooker from there than get one.
Two all now on table 2 between Gary Wilson and Louis Heathcote. More frustration for Ben Mertens. Again, the safety not working out for him at all. Half a chance for Allen to get back in. He's picking up the pieces so far this evening, Allen. No more than that. But this was well cued, right in the heart of the pocket. It's taken a long time for this Third frame to unfold, but here's a chance for Allen to pull clear at least.
Six.
Well, this opens up the pink, if nothing else, and the red
70.
above and to the left of it. And running through, probably through onto the black. And things are starting to take shape, albeit he had to be very patient in this frame. Quite a nice little shot there, just avoid hitting a red, getting on the black. So he's got to take these two reds below the black spot, and he'll be well and truly over the line at that point.
33. 34. 41.
Red any colour will be enough.
42.
It was a safety error from Ben Mertens, leaving Allen with his hand on the table, knocked in the red, and it looks like being very expensive. Not a pretty frame, but another frame on Mark Allen's side of the roster. That's been the pattern this evening, without playing anywhere near his A game. He's been the more clinical of the two.
50.
Mertens was a bit unlucky earlier in the frame when Allen missed a thin cut on a red into the right corner and somehow
54.
managed not to leave Mertens an easy starter, which he looked like he would do. That tends to be the way when you're struggling. The rub of the green doesn't go for you either, and that's all combined to produce a lopsided scoreline, which isn't really a reflection of the snooker. But Mark Allen won't care about that. He's a frame away from a place in the second round, and Bert Mertens now needs a similar sort of response to the one he produced against Ronnie O'Sullivan at the English Open last season, because he trails Mark Allen by 3 frames to 0. In our first match of the evening on this first day of the Bet-Victor Northern Ireland Open, which doesn't tell the whole story by any means. Mark Allen now 3-0 up on 19-year-old Ben Mertens, but the Belgian could, perhaps should have been 2-0 up. Very protracted tactical exchange early in the third frame before Mertens played a loose safety. Left Allen in with a long red, which he duly deposited and did enough to put himself 3 up with 4 to play. Winner to face Petrov, the Estonian, having beaten Sanderson Lamb in his first round match. Made a century in the process. about the safety error that led to Mertens' demise in the previous frame. This is it. He catches the middle pocket jaw off this red and flung his head to the heavens. He knew that he'd left Allen the chance, which he took. But the Belgian has a chance now early in this fourth frame as he looks to make his mark. We know he is capable of coming back from this sort of deficit to put himself back in contention, just as he did against O'Sullivan last season in the home nations at the English Open. Can he do it again? He made 3 good breaks to achieve that against O'Sullivan, who spoke very highly afterwards of the potential of Mertens and the talent he believes he has.
Sam.
Now he's on that red he's closest to, not particularly comfortably though, if he is. I think he's on it. It's just that he wanted to be straighter. As well, goodness.
Green ball, thank you.
Just isn't really his night, is it? It seems just not anything really is happening for him. It was a half-decent opportunity, which amounted to very little.
And that's the point. Mertens has had plenty of opportunities this evening. He had 3 chances to win the opening frame, including the final black, which was far from easy. Queuing close to the side cushion, he just overcut it after Mark Allen had missed the final frame ball pink. Great chance in the second frame. And another chance goes begging there.
Now, I wonder if he left that red by the black through the gap between the other 2 reds. He's the shot, you know, misjudged. And he looks more than disappointed, understandably. Well, when Mark Allen is right, you would not expect to get another shot in this frame, or indeed in this case the match, from here, because the balls are beautifully set.
And he's always been a great finisher, Allen. So often, even in tight matches, he's finished with a big break when he's had the chance. There's never been any question about his mettle. Came through a decider against John Trump to win the World Grand Prix last season.
Yeah, things got very nervy in that match, didn't they? Because at one point, Allen was in a very healthy lead. It was pegged back and it got very edgy, as you'd expect.
Yes, he was 7-2 up at one stage, and Trump actually had a good chance early in that deciding frame. Couldn't take it, and Allen took advantage. He does look a little short of confidence, though, at the moment, Mark Allen. The results have been relatively ordinary so far this season. But he has such happy memories of playing here. So much success in the last 2 years.
40.
These early rounds, it's all about getting through, giving yourself the opportunity to improve, which he would surely do.
50. $22. $23.
Well, this match is not over yet, but it could well be a 4-0. And sometimes you get 4-0s that are totally one-sided, totally emphatic. I don't think this has been quite like that. Mertens has had opportunities in all of the frames, especially the first couple. But it doesn't look very good for him now. Not with Allen with this chance. Probably the best leave of the match, this one.
31. $38.
Decider underway on table 2 between Gary Wilson and Louis Heathcote. Wilson's in first early in that 7th frame.
Yeah.
Oh, we thought he'd missed that. That's not the place of the pocket you aim at, the left jaw as we look. I think he felt that that was not going to drop in. So that would have given Ben Mertens a bit of hope, seeing him sort of leap to his feet before the shot was completed, thinking he had missed.
$47.
But it is a very impressive record, isn't it, that he's got here, Mark Allen, in winning all these matches successively at the waterfront.
He said that having failed by his standards in the first few stagings of this event, he decided to treat it like any other event. He relocated to a hotel, tried to do his normal things and treat it as he would other ranking tournaments. But of course, this one is different for him. It's special. It's his home crowd, and it meant so much to him to win it. You could see that with his celebration when he pipped John Higgins to the post a couple of years ago. Oh, goodness. What's he done there, though?
Mark Allen.
A
55.
routine pink when he was getting close to the winning line. Extraordinary, really.
Oh, this is an absolute sitter, let's be honest. Unthinkable that he would miss that.
Last chance saloon, really, for Ben Mertens, who's had no joy at all so far this evening, and I'm sure would have been expecting to shake Mark Allen's hand in a couple of minutes, having lost 4-0. So this is a chance he wouldn't have really hoped to get, but he has got it. He's got to red up the table, which could be awkward, but at least it's a chance to get right back in the frame, keep his hopes alive.
Eight. Thanks, man.
Well, the irony of Ben Mertens going on to steal this frame if he should. And the least likely, I guess, of all of them that he could win, and now he has got an outside chance of doing so. And what a good shot here. Getting on that red would make him favourite. Oh, he's too close to it. That'll annoy him. I don't know if it pots anywhere
20
from there.
Mertens. 20.
So the difference is 20 with 35 left. All of the colours are open and available. It's all about this red, you would think. Alan looking to see if Mertens can get through to the pot on this red. Certainly a test of cueing if he can. A big shot this is. You feel it has to go. No, he couldn't. Just playing safe. Oh, double kiss, goodness.
Somewhat interesting, isn't it? From that low angle, it looked to me that he could get to it, I thought, but obviously that was just our view. They can see better in line with the shot, of course. It just appeared that way. Well, that could be a killer blow. There's more needed, though. Red brown, if he can take the brown with this or whatever colour he takes. I still need the yellow.
Mark Allen very close to victory, but once again, not prepared to take any risk. Looking instead to turn the screw, although he won't be thrilled with that safety, having not got the snooker.
Well, he just cannot quite deliver the killer blow here. Ooh, has he got lucky? Or can Mertens get through? He might be able to sneak past the green. Yes, he can. Albeit, it's a difficult shot. Now that yellow, he needs cover this time with something. I'm afraid it's not happened. It could be it now. Oh dear, it's not been his night. I don't think, unless you're a Mark Allen fan or Mark Allen himself, you mightn't begrudge him winning this frame and getting something out of it. It appears that that might not be the case now. 4-0. It's a little bit of a cruel scoreline, perhaps.
Most definitely. Doesn't really give the full picture of the match, but this green is frame ball barring a snooker. Oh, and he's missed it. Well, this is an extraordinary frame. Allen missed a simple pink earlier when he was getting close to clinching the match. He's now match ball.
He didn't get very close to it, to be honest. I mean, as you can see, he didn't really threaten. Oh dear. Well, it's not a great end to this match, is it? And I think the end is surely coming. Although this is arguably more difficult than the one that he's just missed into that pocket. Allen, that previous visit. Ben Mertens can barely look. Well, that's that. The crowd liked it, but I don't think Allen, despite the scoreline, will be very pleased with his performance tonight. Strangely, he'll be delighted with the...
Mark Allen prides himself on being very honest, sometimes quite abrupt with his points of view. Says it how he feels it is, and pretty sure he won't be rating this victory very highly in the pantheon of triumphs that he's had down the years, particularly here at this tournament, which he's won 2 years running. But he's got the job done, and he's got it done by whitewash. Quite how is anyone's guess, but he's won, and that's all that matters.
I think we were trying to see a various cushion shot there to get on the black, but he made the shot anyway, I think. Now he's playing the double. Yep, he wins anyhow. Scoreline's all that counts.
Mark Allen is through to round 2. Not a convincing victory. Ben Mertens has had an evening to forget. Nothing went right for him. He could and perhaps should have won the first 2 frames of the evening, but Mark Allen has done enough in all 4 to go through 4-0.